I think there's two Knox Street in San Fernando as well. And there's the street, I think they took Potter Street as well. So we need to look at those things and have our department investigate where we have two streets carrying the same name, how we deal with that. I saw recently where people sent out some information in the whole renaming process. And people think there'll be a real call that they're living in Gulvey and they know kind of acres and this. The new TPDs have been working on that. We should rectify those things. But this subcommittee should meet in March, and we have Councillor Paris and the GP also to be involved in that exercise of the renaming of streets as we move forward. Those historians in San Fernando will like to add their 2 cents state as we see. Also 3.3.4, the naming of the recommendation to rename Independence Avenue after Hazel Crawford. Mr. Crawford indicates to me that under another administration, the then MP, Mr. Elmer Harvey, had approached him or renamed the same street, Independence Avenue, after him, and he came to council and nothing came out of it. I think what will happen is that there was a change of government in 1986 and a change of personnel here as well. And council that period probably didn't seem fit to go ahead with the plans as we do in this country. Once we change government, we change plans, as opposed to the value of Easy Crawford as a permanent Senator. So he's a bit peeved by that, and I give you the assurance that we're going to rectify it and sort it out, because it was Broadway one time, changing Broadway to Independence Avenue, and now we are proposing the Easy Crawford Avenue. And with those who business pursuing that the deed will be affected by it, we can use the Easy Crawford Independence Avenue. That should cover it and save us some conversation. So I'll proceed with page 3, and at the same time, I'd like to do an official letter to Mr. Crawford, informing him that in the light of what I just mentioned, that we are proposing to rectify what was recommended in this council back in the 80s and was not carried out. This council would like to have it completed. Page 3. Officer, the new days of passing out of officers on Saturday. Ms. King? There's a passing out of officers on Saturday, which will augment bring our strength up to date. Could you go ahead and patient that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. On the 2nd of February 2019 at 10:30 in the morning, we will be having our passing out parade of 199 probationers who will be then distributed to the various corporations. And as such, San Fernando will be getting, well, we are saying 25 officers. One of the officers is on injury because I don't know if you all would have known before, and we're coming to work around Christmas, he was in an accident, so he's now on sick leave. But we will be having our 25 officers who will not only augment the strength of the San Fernando City Police, but who will be also working diligently with us to ensure that San Fernando, as it's becoming a cleaner, a safer, a better place, not only to work, but to recreate for persons.
What I would suggest to obviously that we can get a listing of in terms of how we be applying them to the various segments of duty and what we have to do, so we can have a report in terms of traffic, particularly in some critical areas. Of course, high line corridors, so if maybe to us there was a program and plan of activities we have for these officers. And when they pass on Saturday, will be coming into office immediately so as of Monday morning?
No, sir. What is happening? This week they're working 6 days. They are in training to complete the parade, which will be on Saturday. So for this whole week, they have been in training. So we will have to give them back an additional day. So not until Tuesday, they will be starting out working.
That is reasonable. We spoke about a situation outside of Skinner Park with schools in that area, Monsec, Alsher, schools there where cars are parking almost 3 days outside the park. Are we looking into that?
Since the last time you told me about it, the following day I had officers checking on that. But again, because these new probationers had to push quickly, we didn't have sufficient, but it is a continuous basis.
So with the new level officers, you will raise an issue.
Yes,
thank you so much, Mr. King.
You're welcome, sir.
Page 7. Councillor Joseph, I'm seeing where Cousin Will and Framework highlighted and Cousin Will twice on last month. I see Mr. Cooper from that Framework record yesterday. For the before yesterday's going to learn something on so Framework saying I think that is sometime it's a new national record for a young person. Announcements?
Your Worship, Deputy CEO, members of Council, Morning Rapid rises for the following announcements. Mr. Wendell Williams, a former employee of the San Fernando City Corporation, died on the 24th of the 12th, 2019 and was buried on the 2nd of the 1st, 2019. We also had Miss Georgiana Cynthia Samuel, some of you would know her as Saucy, an activist in the city of San Fernando and the South Lady of San Fernando. South was the main thing. She died on the 16th of November. She was born on the 16th of November 1943 and died on the 16th of January 2019. Her interment was on Tuesday, the 22nd of January at Knight's Funeral. We also have another story in Southland, and I think his worship would want to
Seek medical attention. I was informed that he suspected cancer. Within a month or so, the cancer had passed his shoulder, was heading to his brain. And by January of 2019, we got news that he passed. Besides being a friend, Roland was a masquerader for over 42 years. Started his career as king of the bands in 1976 when a small band by the name of Skittle Bunch decided that they were going to present a band for Carnival. And Roland, an unknown masquerader in those days, volunteered to be the king of the band. The band had 17 masqueraders on Carnival Tuesday. And 21 band players. Roland costume was bigger than the band and the players combined. The night at the competition at Skinner Park, Roland, how we do the competition in those days, you pass one round and then select 6 finalists for the second round on the same night. Roland was not selected for the second round and proceeded to go on stage uninvited, unannounced, unwelcome, without the costume, and began to berate the judges for not allowing us to participate in the final. And it didn't stop there. Roland turned around and wiggled his rear end and required the constable Pulam of the municipal police had to escort Roland off the stage with haste. And that was Roland's passion for the mask costume. Subsequent to that, the Carnival Tuesday as the band came down Coffee Street and North Street and turning right onto Mokora Bush that we used to do in those days, we were informed that the businessmen, Avery and those guys had organized a competition by the market, and none of the bands passed, and we were able to oblige. So the band songlet went down there, and we won band of the year with over 17 masqueraders, and Roland was a judge, king of the bands. But as we were leaving the area and to what was then Gaiety Cinema, which is now the extension to the market, one of the revelers threw some cast wine in the anxiety of Roland's costume. Of course, that experienced some body blows by you know who. One person even said that Roland didn't deserve to win because his uncle, Dr. Anston St. George, was a sponsor of the competition. I think Roland won fair and square. Roland went on and didn't stop there. He competed for almost 42 years playing King of the Bands, winning the converted title in 2012 for the very first time. I myself had my challenge with Roland when he competed as the King of the Bands, and I wasn't beat him on 2 occasions. And Roland never, it's not somebody who take mix easily, he will give you a hard time. But he went forward and continued with his passion for mass, and I think of San Fernando. I think the last king he played was for the Catholic Church with a costume called Spitted Top in Mud. I will know well because he beat me that year. I played a costume called The Gaze Man called Hell, a band called Master and Island, he was the Catholic Church. So he went for Spain and formed a group and established himself and continued for years. He was a thorn in the mass fraternity because he had real problems with the NCBA. I think he formed his own association at one time, supported by a sitting councillor to move forward in his quest to improve mass for the masqueraders and things like that. When I was in the ministry, one day I was told that there were people outside protesting. And when I got outside, there was my good friend who had the biggest placard saying Junior River and Barry McDonald must go. But that was Roland, you have to respect Roland. Roland felt that if we were an obstacle, it didn't matter who you were, Roland said what he had to say. And we respect him for that. Our friendship continued. We would meet every Christmas Day at my in-laws' house. And this year was the first year I didn't see Roland. I said, where was Roland? So Roland could hardly walk. I mean, within 2 months, Roland was almost on death bed. But today, we look at his contribution to the mass fertility. When you do an estimate or accumulation of the money he spent building a king costume, Roland would have spent millions of dollars in mass. Millions. And that's what his contribution, his love for the art form. When we started building costume in those days, a king costume would have cost you about $30,000 to $40,000. I understand now it's within the vicinity of $200,000. So over 42 years, when you look at how much money he spent in it, you either say Roland a little mad or he loved mass. But we have benefited from his contribution and his love and his passion for the art form, and he certainly would be missed. May he rest and find eternal rest and rise in the glory of heaven. Maybe at this point stand and say and hold a minute silence for those who passed. May the souls of the faithful departed rest in peace and rise in the glory of heaven.
Your Worship, Madam Deputy CEO, members of Council, members of Administration, Springvale Paradise rises for the acceptance of the Finance Plan and Allocations of Resources meeting held on the 29th of November, 4th of December, and 20th of December 2018.
Your Worship, Madam Deputy CEO, members of council, I beg to second.
Good morning, Your Worship, members of council, Madam Deputy CEO, and members of administration. I, Alderman Johannes Dienrein, do rise for the public health for the acceptance of the Public Health Committee report held on the 4th of December 2018.
Your Worship, Deputy CEO, members of council, Marabella South Visabella rise to second.
All in favor? Any against? Any abstention? The motion is carried. Physical infrastructure.
Good morning, Your Worship. Madam Deputy CEO, members of council, members of administration. I rise for the acceptance of the Physical Infrastructure and Transport Committee report held on the 11th of December 2018.
Your Worship, Madam Deputy CEO, members of council, members of admin, Springville Paradise, so second.
All in favor? Any against? Any abstention? The motion is carried. A very attentive personal chairman.
Your Worship, Madam Deputy CEO, members of council, I, Alderman Thomas, rise for the acceptance of Personal Committee report meeting held on the 11th of December 2018.
Your Worship, Deputy CEO, members of council, Manipur Navet rise to second, same.
All in favor? Any against? Any abstention? The motion is carried. Committee reports for adoption. Planning and development.
Pleasant morning, Your Worship, members of council, Deputy CEO, members of administration. I rise for the adoption of the Planning and Development Committee report of meeting held on 11th December 2018.
Second.
Pleasant day, Your Worship. Madam Deputy CEO, members of council, members of administration, Marabella East is pleased to second.
All in favor? Any against? Any abstention? The motion is carried. Parks and institutions.
Your Worship, Deputy CEO, members of council, Marabella South Visabella rise for the adoption of the Parks and Institution Committee report meeting held on the 11th of December 2018.
Your Worship, Madam Deputy CEO, members of council, I beg to second.
All in favor? Any against? Any abstention? The motion is carried. Stay on your feet, sir.
I ask for the adoption of the General Purpose Committee report meeting held on the 29th of November 2018 and on the 11th of December 2018.
Second.
Your Worship, members of council, members of administration, Springville Paradise, so second.
All in favor? Any against? Any abstention? The motion is carried. Education and Youth Development.
Your Worship,
Deputy Chair.
members of council, Madam Deputy CEO, members of I, Alderman Shane Samral, do rise for the adoption of the Education and Youth Development Committee report of meeting held on 11th of December 2018.
Your Worship, Madam Deputy CEO, members of council, I second same.
You second the motion, Chairman, Deputy. You second it.
Madam Deputy CEO, members of council, I, Alderman Thomas, second same.
All in favor? Any against? Any abstention? The motion is carried. Culture and the Arts.
Your Worship, Madam Deputy CEO, members of council, members of administration, Springville Paradise, rises for the adoption of the Arts and Culture meeting held on the 4th of December 2018.
Public.
Your Worship, Madam Deputy CEO, Councillor Fukuki Truba, rise to second.
All in favor? Any against? Any abstention? The motion is carried. Public claims and liabilities, Alderman Samlal. Sorry.
Good morning, Your Worship, members of council, Madam Deputy CEO, members of administration. I, Alderman Johannes Dienrein, do rise for the adoption of the Public Claims and Liabilities report held on the 4th of December 2018.
Your Worship, Madam Deputy CEO, members of council, I, Alderman Thomas, rise to second scene.
All in favor? Any against? Any abstention? The motion is carried. Sports and Social Services.
Your Worship, Deputy CEO, members of council, Monipur Navet rise for the adoption of the report of the Sports and Social Services Committee meeting held on the 4th of December 2018.
Your Worship, Madam Deputy CEO, members of council, members of administration, Springville Paradise, so second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any against? Any abstention? The motion is carried. Security and Disaster.
Your Worship, Madam Deputy CEO, Koke-Turuba rise for the adoption of the Security and Disaster Committee meeting held on the 4th of December.
Your Worship, Madam Deputy CEO, members of council, I, Alderman Thomas, second scene.
Alderman Thomas what? I just heard Alderman Thomas.
Your Worship, Madam Deputy CEO, members of council, I, Alderman Thomas, second scene.
All in favor? Any against? Any abstention? The motion is carried. Tourism and Heritage.
Your Worship, members of council, Madam Deputy CEO, members of admin, I, Alderman Shane Samuel, do rise for the adoption of the Tourism and Heritage Committee report held on the 4th of December 2018.
Your Worship, members of council, Madam Deputy CEO, members of administration, I, Levin Smith, representative from Mambla West, do second.
All in favor? Any against? Any abstention? The motion is carried. Assessment.
Your Worship, Madam Deputy CEO, members of council, members of administration, Springville Paradise rises for the adoption of the assessment meeting held on the 11th of December 2018.
Your Worship, Madam Deputy CEO, members of council, members of admin, Marabella East is pleased to second scene.
All in favor? Any against? Any abstention? The motion is carried. Madam Deputy CEO, any petitions?
Your Worship, members of council, members of administration, there are no petitions.
Any motions?
None, Your Worship.
Any personal explanations?
None, Your Worship.
Any questions?
None, Your Worship.
At this point, I'll ask Alderman Deonarain to give a report on his exercise at Crossing last week.
Good morning, Your Worship.
We enter the carnival season for 2019. I'm making a plea for our citizens, members of council as well, to become more cognizant of the social, cultural, and economic factors that present themselves for both the public and private entities and the carnival fraternity. As many of you will be aware, in recent times, remarks made by the chairman of the NCC cast aspersions at the San Fernando City Corporation with regards to the construction of a gate at Skinner Park, as well as transparency. The story occupied the attention of the media and remained unclarified. Substantial evidence available to us indicates that the construction and installation of this gate was carried out in February of 2013, 3 years and 9 months before the start of my tenure as mayor and this council, and under a different political administration. However, the ventilation of this matter in the public domain has cost our city the loss of one potential sponsor and can thereby tarnish future sponsorship. What actually occurred was that out of an allocation of $3 million to the San Fernando City Carnival Committee under Mayor Navid Maradali in 2013, a contract was awarded to one of the councillors who was sitting here, who subtracted it to New Earth Contractors Limited, owned by a Mr. Everton Charles, and was paid in 3 tranches. $1,000 was paid on February 18, 2013. $75,000 was paid on March 7, 2013. And $100,000 was paid on the 25th of March, 2013. A total sum of $275,000 was received by New Earth Contractors Limited, owned by Mr. Everton Charles, for this project, and not $350,000 as was reported to the NCC. Our decline in allocation is as follows. In 2013, $3 million was allocated under Mayor Muradali. From 2014 to 2016, $1.2 million to Mayor Kazim Hussein. 2017, under my watch, $800,000. 2018, $400,000. And if this decline continues, I anticipate none for 2019. Allocations for a region as opposed to a city has stymied the carnival activities in San Fernando. Along with handicapping our growth, this consistent reduction of funding has impacted on our ability to meet our prize money owed to our dedicated mass bands, steel bands, and calypsonians. These drivers of our carnival culture, who in the face of these losses continue on in the name of keeping our heritage alive. The paucity of funding only serves to demotivate them in their tireless efforts and demands immediate attention if we intend to keep the celebration alive in our city. For many years, San Fernando was a nexus point for the towns and villages in South. People came from as far as Point Fort in Rio Claro, like Mr. Hiraman, and Cedrus, Shoguanas, to participate in our activity. However, the distribution of funding for Carnival has not grown proportionately with our evolution as a city and requires immediate attention. If this course of action by the NCC continues along this path, I am certain that the disruption to Carnival in San Fernando will progress to a point where there will not be Carnival celebrations from a competitive perspective and will ultimately be the death of Carnival in San Fernando. At this point, if it's left to me alone, I would say there will be no Carnival in San Fernando for 2019. NCC has to address these issues, as well as making a special plea to corporate sponsors and bodies that San Fernando must not be seen as the bastard child. I must mention the challenges that our southern steel bands are faced with, as most of them are now literally moving around cap in hand, seeking financial assistance. Two of our large bands are operating with an allocation of less than $500,000, which is inclusive of transportation. Heaven help us. In spite of these challenges, the Council has a responsibility to provide carnival-related activities for its citizens, and as such, it is my absolute pleasure to inform the citizens of San Fernando for the joint project between Tuco Calypso Fiesta Limited, FCL Financial, and the San Fernando City Corporation. The Calypso Fiesta Festival 2019 seeks to extend one of the premier carnival events in San Fernando. The Calypso Fiesta will be pushed into a 4-day extravaganza with the intention of showcasing the amazing talents of our local artists, culture, and artistry associated with Trinidad and Tobago Carnival experience. We will create a fan zone in the inner city, paying attention to Coffee Street, High Street, Harris Promenade, Superior Street, and Independence Avenue, where we will decorate the area to create a festive kind of ambience and a fun zone as we lead and build up to the marquee event known as Calypso Fiesta. In addition to this, we're also working with the Ken Fillmore Foundation to keep his dreams and legacy alive by commemorating the week of February the 18th, 2019, to our fallen heroes. We'll be celebrating the life of Professor Ken Fillmore for his devotion to the continued development of our national instrument through a competition of songs on the 24th to highlight his contribution on the national instrument and to our culture. Tickets go on sale from today at $100, with proceeds going towards his foundation, and the prize already have been secured by private sector. Through this collaborative effort with both public and private organizations as well as individuals, we seek to highlight the life of his cultural carnival hero and other local icons such as Mr. Steve Achaiba, who won our third Panorama for San Fernando in 1975 with Maritime Life Hatters as they were known then, and Mr. Fred Mitchell, the mighty composer. This will be done during this period as we celebrate our icons. Additionally, we have partnered with the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service on an outreach program in hosting a free midday concert on Friday, February the 8th at Library Corner, featuring the Trinidad and Tobago Police Band together with soca artists. We also propose to host a junior school panorama competition. We are working fastidiously to make these events a reality and mainstay here in our city. These experiences intend to specifically target merchants, primarily in the service industry, inclusive of restaurants and bars. By incorporating the key foundations of our unique carnival culture, calypso and kaiso, traditional carnival characters, and of course, our national instrument, the steel pan, we are certain this new festival will reinvigorate Carnival in San Fernando and provide an amazing seasonal business opportunity for businesses and entrepreneurs of our city. As such, we look forward to working with all stakeholders to make 2019 a year of rebirth of Carnival in San Fernando, to carve out a unique experience rooted in our cultural identity in all facets of the arts and culture, as well as the service industry. In addition, we are certain to attract local and foreign visitors to San Fernando and to constructively use the opportunity to develop and nurture our greatest asset, the diligent and enterprising citizens of San Fernando. I look forward to working with my fellow San Fernandians in cultivating these new opportunities that await us for the benefit of the city of San Fernando. I thank you. I was informed by the leader of business that I was supposed to do an award this morning to the councillor, voted the best councillor for the year 2018. And it is to be order the award. Was supposed to be collected this morning, but we thought it wasn't ready as yet because your achievement is so much that they had to extend on it. Take a little time. So leader of business will be done at next year. At next month's meeting. Sorry about disappointment, sir. And at this point, I would like to take the opportunity to congratulate Councillor Lynch for on Sunday. She rescued an 84-year-old gentleman and probably saved a soul. And that's commendable that the service of a councillor goes beyond the politics. It's humanitarian, and we know saving lives. So, Councillor Lynch, I want to congratulate you on your diligence, your keen interest, and your ability to move and scale a 10-foot fence without any assistance, right? So it seems that you have athletic skills. Maybe miss your calling in life, but congratulations and well done, and continue to represent us and make us proud.